Um, I have a handful of things I want to go through tonight. I have a little presentation. For those of you who don't know me, not only am I a race director for a brand new series, and I'm getting support and guidance from an outstanding race director. I'm also a school teacher, so using PowerPoints keeps me on task, keeps me on point. So we're going to use that. But at the very end of this, I do want to open up to questions. So what I would suggest is I want to get through this part quickly. Take notes, jot things in your head. If you're not good at, I'm not good. I have ADHD. I'm not good at it, so I have my notepad and pen. I'm gonna take notes. Yeah, exactly. Allie is someone who knows me. I know her. We volunteered together and worked together on other events for another race director. But any of you who don't know me, that's a very, very, very brief part of my background. So I'm going to jump into the PowerPoint. I'm going to go through it quickly, but honestly, if you have questions at the end of it, please, please, please don't hesitate to ask me. If there's a question you want to ask and you're like, please, can this not be on the recording? I will make sure to edit it out and move it forward. So, but here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share with you my PowerPoint slideshow. So hopefully you can see that there. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. So this is, yeah, this is my second event. I started this at the end of last year, the conception. I've actually had this idea for a while. Long story short, my wife and I, we lived in the UK for 10 years. We were born and raised here in Colorado, but we lived out there for 10 years and we started doing these orienteering races. When we came back here to Colorado, I know that the Rocky Mountain Orienteering Club and a few others do these events, and it's amazing stuff, but you don't see it. It's not very like prevalent in the trail running community. So my wife, as she is, she pushed me to try to create events. So this is our second one. Thank you for everyone who's joining it. I'm going to be just a disclaimer. I'm going to be asking a, for a lot of feedback from you guys, good, bad, and ugly. I want to make this a good event. I want to build this out to be something that people enjoy. Right now, I'm going to put it out there in this video. I'm not making a profit off this. This is just something for pure enjoyment, entertainment, and something that I'm passionate about. So thank you for signing up for this. Let's go ahead. So a really quick outline, what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to just do a quick overview of Mountain Madness, what it's about. Required equipment. I am beating a dead horse with this. I have it on my website. I've sent it to you in email. I put it in videos, but I can't emphasize enough how important the required equipment is. So I'm emphasizing it again to you and to see if you have any questions about it. Sorry. And then we have check-in. We're going to talk about where the location is for this event in Golden Gate Canyon State Park and the process, what it's going to look like when you rock up to the event, what it's going to look like. Then we're going to do the basics of Map Compass. I'm talking about pure basics. I'm guessing there's going to be a few people who are in this meeting. I know I had some people from Rocky Mountain Orienteering Club who said they're going to potentially join this. Some of you might have a lot of experience with Map and Compass. You're going to say, I don't need to know this. I don't care. So I'm going to go through it very quick. What I would suggest is when I get to that point, I'll recommend some sites or other things. I think in the future for people who are not familiar with Map and Compass, I might put on some courses. I'm also going to recommend some through Rocky Mountain Orienteering Club. They're not sponsoring me. We're not even connected right now. Or some other groups that I know of that are outstanding groups for that stuff. And then I'm going to open up for questions. All right. So what is Mountain Madness? Kind of a brief overview of what the event is. When I first built this, we only had one event. And I tried it out in May. I had two teams, so 4 people. It's very, very small. And they gave me a lot of good feedback, good, bad, and ugly. One of which was, Daniel, your time is too short for the race, and you should have a course for beginners, people who don't know a lot about orienteering. So I did that. We had 2 courses planned for Golden Gate Canyon. We had the Savage Grizzly, which was 5 hours and 10 checkpoints, and they're really spread out. 2 reasons we canceled that. 1, nobody was signing up for it. And 2, the parks had changed some of their policies with hunting and other things, and they confined me to a much smaller space. We're going to work closer with them next year to expand that space and get a better time, but that's what it is. So because no one signed up for it, I just canceled it. Look for that though for next year. So we're looking around May time and November time next year to do these events. But the one all of you have signed up for is the Gentle Grizzly. You've got 3 hours to collect 5 checkpoints. And I'm telling you, I did a recce 2 weekends ago. I posted a video about it over this last weekend. It's totally manageable in 3 hours. Even if you're the slowest person out there, it's totally manageable. I hit all the checkpoints and I was done in like 2.5 hours, and I was walking most of it with my dog. So definitely doable. Um, this event is very unique in that there is only one and only aid station. It is your start and finish. We do not have food. We have a big jug of water. That's it. We have first aid kits. We have all the kit we need to ensure that you're safe. So if something does happen, there's emergency, we got you. But as far as like if you're used to trail races where you're getting hitting checkpoint to checkpoint or hitting aid stations and stuff and getting refueled, this isn't that. You have to be 100% self-sufficient. And again, that's why I overemphasize the equipment or the gear checklist, because that is part of the agreement with the parks that if something happens to you, you're good overnight if we can't find you. We will. I'm sure it's not going to be an issue, but you have to be self-sufficient. Second, so you're going to be using a map and compass. You will bring a cell phone with you in case of an emergency, but we ask you don't use anything off of that cell phone. We want you to go old school. Use a map that we give you. We'll provide you with a laminated map or a glossy map that can withstand the weather. At the start of the race, once you've checked in and you started the race, we'll give you that. But you also need a compass. Now, for the Gentle Grizzly, the checkpoints are not that far off course. You really don't need to do a ton with your compass, but it's good to have just in case you want to practice those skills or if you do get a bit lost, that'll help you out. Make sure you know how to use your tools. Make sure you know how to use a map. Make sure you know how to use a compass. Your tools are only as good as what you know. Now, just for those of you, especially those of you, if you're from the Rocky Mountain Orienteering Club or you do know about map and compass, here's what you need to know for this event. We're going to have a lot of checkpoints. So we're going to have 5 checkpoints plus a bonus checkpoint. I just put that in when I did the recce. The bonus checkpoint, you don't know what the value is. So technically there's 6 checkpoints, but really if you get all 5, it's 100 points total if you grab all 5, but there's a bonus one. And I can't tell you how many points that's worth. Literally, I rolled a die. I multiplied whatever that value was by 10, and that's the checkpoint value. I literally that's how I did it. So it's kind of a fun way to think like, do I want to get that? Do I not? Whatnot. And the map itself, the scale that I printed it out at this time, because it's such a smaller course, is 1 to 12,000. So for those of you who know map and compass, you'll understand that it's going to be a lot more focused than a typical map. Typical maps are anywhere between 1 to 25,000 and 1 to 50,000. This one's a lot more tighter. And then this is choose your own adventure. The only caution I give is this is Golden Gate Canyon State Park. Unlike Staunton, where we had our event in May, where it's you can go totally off course, totally off trail, you can go down beaten paths, you can go crazy. It's quite fun. I remember one of my participants, the race director that's helping me, he was cutting through like gullies and stuff and having a good time with it. And you're allowed to do that in Staunton. Golden Gate Canyon, not so much. They have a lot of protected wildlife, a lot of protected vegetation. So I would say stay on course, stay on the trails as much as possible. But again, it is still choose your own adventure. There's going to be a few points where you do have to go off trail and do some like a bit of like rock scrambling, nothing crazy, nothing that you need ropes for or anything dangerous, but there's going to be some scrambling or some bits where you have to go a bit off trail and kind of find where the marker is. I give you clues. You'll see that during the event. It's on the map. There's clues for every checkpoint as to where the checkpoint's going to be. But when I say choose your own adventure, this is the cool thing about this type of trail event. You don't have to do a loop or a specific trail that's set out for you with ribbons or sign markage. You get a map and you say, where do we want to go first? What do we think we can grab? Do we want to grab everything? You don't have to. Maybe you only grab 2 or 3 points out of 5. Maybe you do end up getting them all 5. You get to choose what you want to go after. So it's kind of a unique way, a unique thing in that way. Okay, required equipment. Again, I'm beating a dead horse, but I really have to emphasize what's important about this. Now, if any of you saw the video, I posted a video on my Instagram feed, which is it's at mm_orienteering. And then on my Facebook page as well, which if you just type in Mountain Madness, you'll see our logo with the bear and the compass. Um, I posted videos there, and I also have a YouTube channel. If you just go to www.mountain slash or dash madness.com, the links to my Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are there, but all the videos there, and I have videos about the required equipment. Okay. But the videos I just posted recently on Facebook and Instagram showed you can actually pack it down into a small running pack. The participants who participated in my last event in May had like massive backpacks. You can bring that. That's totally fine. I want you to be safe, secure, and have the equipment you need. But I'm telling you, you truly don't need the big equipment to keep you safe. You just need what I put on this list. So you need a waterproof jacket. I asked for taped seams. So there's seams that are taped inside of the waterproof jacket to keep that water out of your jacket a lot better than just like a cheap jacket you might get at a cheap store. Same with waterproof pants or trousers, tape seams. The ones I bought, the waterproof trousers, I got them from a company called OMM. It's a European company from the UK. Literally, the waterproof trousers are as big as my fist. Like they're tiny. They crunch down, and I fold them into my raincoat, and it's perfect. You need a long sleeve base layer. I run in a long sleeve base layer. It's both good for UV protection, keeping me cool, and then when it's cold out, it helps when I layer on to keep me warm. Spare synthetic warm tops. So like a light hoodie or something, nothing too crazy. Hat and gloves suitable for weather conditions. I wear a pair of really light gloves, and I wear a light beanie. It works for me. I'm happy with that. So when I throw all my other layers on with my hood, keeps my head warm, and gloves keep my hands warm. Trail running shoes. You could also use boots. It's not on here, but you can use hiking boots. The point is you need tread. I don't want road trainers, basketball shoes, things like that that have no tread on the bottom because the trails can get funky, and especially if you're going off trail on rocks. I want you to be able to have that tread to scramble or do other things you need to do. I don't do anything too crazy. You're not going to get injured if you're careful, but you need that tread on the bottom. I have pretty heavy tread on mine, but you need some type of trail shoe. Hoka trails are good, anything like that. Survival bag, not a blanket. So if you watch those videos I've posted, I have a really thin orange survival bag. It's a plastic bag. It's not a blanket like one of those like tinfoil or one of those like metallic like blankets you'd put on like after a marathon or something, a road marathon at a big race. It's an actual like bag you can put yourself in. And that's important because if you get severely injured where you can't self-evacuate, and you start getting cold, you need to burrow yourself into that thing with your partner FB to keep you warm while we're looking for you. So please carry that. I literally stick that in the back of my little running pack. Pretty simple. Compass, obviously. Need a compass. This is an orienteering event. Have a compass on you. Now, for me, for all the races I've done, I've gotten to a point where I'm just navigating purely off the map. But the compass helps me if I get completely turned around or lost to be able to get back on track. So please make sure you have a compass. Head torch. I got made fun of for that because that's a very British word, but it's a headlamp. You need to have some type of illumination, especially a headlamp. It's better to have those than versus a hand light. So if you do have to stay overnight, you could be using your hands to sort yourself, or you have that on board. More than likely, you're not going to need it, but just in case, you need to have that. Whistle. If you hear us coming through, we're going to be yelling out your names, myself, the park rangers, or any safety teams that we have. We're going to be calling your name out. Hey, hey, where are you at? And if you hear us, you can be blowing that whistle. It's better than yelling, and it's a way for us to navigate to where you're at. Basic first aid kit. If you watch my videos, I have like a thick first aid kit that has a lot more. It has gauze, bandages, blister packs, all kinds of stuff. You don't need that. You just need something to keep your wounds sanitary and safe. So like band-aids, maybe some like sanitizing wipes, simple things. You need sufficient food for the course. It's only 3 hours, so you really don't need much. If you just have a bag of gummies or something simple, that's fine. But what you do need is emergency food. What I do for me is I put it in my emergency pack. I have a pack, I have a thing of Kendall mint cakes. It's a UK type food. It's a mint cake, but it's calorie dense, and I keep that in my emergency pack. That's again if you get injured and we're looking for you and you're overnight and we have search and rescue out or something, God forbid, I don't think that'll happen, but if it does, you have food to keep your calories up so you keep your body warm. So you need to have that uh, emergency food. If you use it, you will be disqualified. But keep in mind, if you're using it, you're well past the 3 hours and you're already disqualified. So don't avoid eating it just because you're like, I don't want to be disqualified. If you're well past the 3 hours and you're hunkered down and you're just waiting for rescue, please eat your food. It's important. We just put that there so people aren't like, well, I don't need to carry food for the day because I got my emergency food and I'll just eat that if I'm hungry. That's why we put that there because we need to differentiate between food for the day and emergency food. You need a water bottle or a hydration system, minimum 1,000 milliliters capacity. That's literally two of those small like bottles that you can fit in the front of a running pack. That's it. That's all we require. I will caution though, I did the recce 2 weekends ago at Golden Gate Canyon. There wasn't any running fresh water or any good water running through. So if you feel you're going to need more than 2 bottles, please pack more. That's just the minimum we require. And finally, mobile phone. It's kind of a catch 22. We want you to have your mobile phone for emergency, but please, 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 we're going off the honor system, the trust system. You're not using it for navigation. You don't have CalPopo or Gaia Maps or something like that to help you navigate. Please don't use that. It's only in case you get lost, if you happen to have a cell service, and you can dial 911 before we start looking for you, because they'll let us know, hey, we've got an emergency in your area for your event. Here's the call we got. And then we can start rolling our emergency group. Okay, so check in what it's going to look like in the process. So it's Golden Gate Canyon State Park. We're checking in near um Criley Pond in Golden Gate Canyon, but we're not at Criley Pond. Again, I posted a video this last weekend about it. The check-in is actually a place called Blue Grouse Trailhead. If you actually go onto the emails I sent you and you click the link for it, it's going to pull up a Google map and it has a pinpoint where we are at. It's a big like loop. So you have a drive coming through and then it's a big loop and then you come back out. We're going to be right there. You're going to see us there. Check in. This is the cool part too, a unique thing about our event. It's anywhere between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. There's no start gun time. You just rock up anywhere between 7 and 8. You can even show up before 7, and then at 7 o'clock, you check in. With the devices we use, which I'll show you shortly, with the devices we use or the little like control points and stuff, they dib your time when you start. And then when you finish and you click the finish check-in point, it clocks your total time. So we can still see who was the fastest and who collected the most points, even if you start at different times. So someone can start at 7 a.m. and someone else start at 8 a.m. right on the dot before the cutoff is. And that 8 a.m. might finish before that 7 a.m. And that's totally fine. So anywhere between there, we're going to be available. It's going to be myself, my wife, and we have a volunteer there that's going to check you in. We're asking that you please, please, please carpool if possible. So they have reserved that loop that I was talking about for our event with the understanding that I was going to encourage everyone to carpool. I'm hoping you would, because if it's you and a partner, then you two should be riding together, which means we'll have maximum 15 vehicles parked up there. If for some reason that whole parking lot is blocked off or we have too many cars there, we're going to send you to Criley Pond. And then one of you is going to have to hike it up to our check-in from Criley Pond. It's not massive, but it's something there. Gear check. So this is a very, very United Kingdom European thing that they do at these orienteering events, and I love it, and I'm doing it. We're going to randomly check 3 items. Usually it's weather dependent, but other times if the weather's looking good, I'm going to be kind of a jerk about it. And I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to pick something that maybe people wouldn't expect. What we do is when you check in, before we even put that wrist dibber on your the dibber on your wrist, We say, I want to see these three items from you and your partner. Show them to us now. You have to show us. And if you have those, you're good to go and we'll check you in. If you don't, you're disqualified and you're not getting a refund and that's it. It's not me being trying to mean. It's not me being trying to be mean. Sorry. It's me trying to emphasize the importance of having all the equipment that I'm asking you to have and kind of putting you on the spot. This is the very much the teacher in me. I'm not telling you what's on the quiz, but you need to be ready for it. So that's where we're coming from. After the gear check, we're going to give you a brief walkthrough. Even though if you've watched the videos, even though you're here now, I'm going to give you a super brief walkthrough, or my wife or our volunteer, about here's how you use the dibbers, here's how you use the control points, here's how you keep track of stuff. If the dibber and the control point don't work, here's your option to make sure that you still get that control point. We're going to walk you through all that. And then finally, your dibbers, your start, and your maps. So we're going to give you a wristband. It's like a concert wristband, and it has this little electronic dibber on it. It's like a little, it almost looks like a little USB, like no bigger than that. And we're going to put that around your wrist and your partner. And then once we give you that, there's going to be a control point. It's a little blue box. I'm going to grab it actually and show you what it looks like. My apologies. Off screen, I should have had this ready for you, but I want to show you so you can see what it looks like. You're going to see a little control point like this. So what you're going to end up doing at that point is you are there's going to be one that says start on it. You and your partner are going to take your dibber, you're going to put it into this little hole right here, and you're going to hear a beeping sound. And once both you and your partner have done that, my wife, myself, or our volunteer, we're going to give you the maps. Both you and your partner will get your own maps. Okay. And then at that point, your time has started. So what happens is you and your partner can either stay there near the check-in or you can go off to the side so nobody hears what you're talking about and you create a plan of action. You look at the map. There's going to be little circle dots. You're going to see that in a minute. I have an example from our last event in May. And you're going to see little circle dots on the map, and there's going to be point values to those. So it'll say like AA or AB or AC, and then in brackets will be a point value like 10, 20, 30, something like that. Those are the points. So you and your partner need to decide, what are we going to try to grab? What can we grab? What do we want to hope to grab? And you got to make a plan quick because your time's going. And then you head off. What I will say is for this event, Golden Gate Canyon State Park is the very first part to even get to most of the dibbers. It's just a single track trail. You're going up and you're zigzagging up to the top of a hill or a mountain. There's one checkpoint, I'll tell you right now, on that trail that's a give me. It means that it kind of gives you the idea of as I go up, there's one checkpoint that I'm guaranteed to be near no matter what. And it's a give me, and it gives you the opportunity to see, okay, where did he hide it? What does it look like? How do we operate it? Okay, so hopefully that helps a bit. Quick map. So this is what I was talking about. If you look at this here, you have parking down south by Criley Pond. It's the big purple P. That's not where we're at. So if you park there, if you see that little trail line up to the Blue Cross Trail, you're gonna have to hike that. Okay. And it's not difficult, but you're gonna have to walk that. Rather, if you go to the road, so you're on 46, you go up a little bit. If you look at the top left of the screen, there's a small road, service road, that takes you to that little loop. And then that's the pinpoint that I put on the screen there. That's where the check-in will be. And that little loop, that's all parking right in there. And again, I was assured by the state park that that's reserved for us. So if you're carpooling, you're guaranteed to get a spot. If you're not, you and your partner go separately and we fill up that parking lot, we're going to move you down to that Criley Pond where that blue purple P is there. Okay, basics of map and compass. I'm going to give you the bare bones, just things that you might want to write down and then go watch a video on or kind of investigate. But I'm going to give you my tips for those who are on the Rocky Mountain Orienteering Club. If you are in here and when we do the questions and answers, if you want to give your feedback, I'm more than open to that. I am a very humble person. I'm open to any ideas. But here's what I want you to know. On the map that you're going to be looking at when you get it, the topo lines, those of you who don't know what topo lines are, those are those like little squiggly lines, and I'm going to show you a map here in a second, that are like layered on a map. And that's telling you how much increase there is or how steep there a hill might be or uh, a surface might be and how steep it goes. So the closer those topo lines, if they're really, really close, that's going to be really steep. If they're wider apart, that means it's going to be a lot more level land. Best example I was ever given, I took a course in the UK. If you take your knuckles and you draw like little circles around all those, and then you lay your hand flat, you're going to see topo lines, and that's going to show you the steepness of your knuckles, right? That's what topo lines are for any proper map that you read. The topo map, the topo lines for this event are going to be spaced out at 40 feet. So between every single little line, that represents in real life 40 feet. Okay. So you have to travel 40 feet to get to that next topo line. Another trick I learned in the UK that really helped me. So I jumped into orienteering races not knowing a thing about map or compass, and I was like, "What am I getting into?" So I started taking a lot of courses on it, and the very first course I took was from some top end ultra runners in Wales who do the Dragon's Back race. If anyone knows about that, and they trained me on this, and they said, "If you know anything, know the 4 Ds." So first, know distance. How far are you going to the next checkpoint? How far is each checkpoint? Can you grab those? What's your ability with that? So think about distance. Within distance as well, that includes elevation gain. So I'm going 2 miles, but is that 2 miles flat or is it 2 miles super steep? Think about those things. Second, duration. Know your pacing. So some of you might be coming to this fresh and you don't know what your pacing is. I'm a bit of a nerd, and the orienteers are probably like the same, where you actually know your different pacings. You know how fast you run or walk up a steep hill, a flat level, a rocky terrain. You've actually like taken the time to pace yourself out, and you can do that. But you need to think about how long would do you think it would take me to get to this checkpoint? Because there's going to be some checkpoints on the map that are way off course, or at least they're off course. They're not within a loop or something. You got to think, can we go out, grab that, and then come back? So that's an important thing as well. Um, I said in my video that I posted this weekend, one of the checkpoints, I knew looking at the topo lines, looking at the distance, I was like, man, this is gonna be a coast because I'm gonna be going downhill to grab this checkpoint. But then I was like, but it's well out of the way, and I have to hump myself back up this massive hill to get back, just to get back on the trails. So that's something to think about. Next, direction. This is super important. If you don't know where you're going, what direction you're going, you're going to get lost easily. Luckily for this event, everything's off the trail just a little bit. So as long as you're sticking on trail and you know what you're doing, which is a trick I'm going to show you here in a second, to keep you on track as to where you're at on the trail, you'll be fine. But know what direction you're going. And finally, description. On the maps, there's going to be a clue box at the very bottom right of the map. And it's going to give you a description of each checkpoint, even that bonus checkpoint. It might say something like rock field, or it might say something like fallen tree, or it might say something like fence. It's not going to be super descriptive, but it's going to help you understand, like, oh, okay, I kind of know we're in this area. It's going to be by a rock field. So as we get there, we got to keep in mind, look for a bunch of rocks or something, right? Or a fallen tree or whatnot. So those are the 4 Ds for navigation races: distance, duration, direction, and description. Finally, these are the strategies for me personally. There's tons of strategies out there. I guarantee you the Rocky Mountain Orientation people can coach, like could just school me on this completely. But these are the threes that have actually helped me be successful in events I've done. First, thumbing the map. Literally, all thumbing the map is say like this was my map. I fold it up and I put my thumb as to where I'm at on the map. And as I'm running and going to a direction, say like I get to my next checkpoint, or I get to another point that I like want to travel to, I put my thumb on that point. And I'm constantly running with my map, thumbing where I'm at. So it keeps my mind free from having to think, where am I exactly? My thumb's right on it. I know where I'm going. It's a skill you have to develop over time, but thumbing the map is helpful. Again, check that out online. Look at what resources out there, but thumbing is good. Aiming off. I really like aiming off. So if you're coming up to a checkpoint, now in this event, you won't have to use aiming off as much. But what aiming off is say like I have a checkpoint over here, but I'm not quite sure how to get there. And navigating by compass, it looks a little tricky and I'm not too clean on it. But there's a river right here, and I'm at this point. If I aim off, if I hit this point of the river, then I know, okay, I've got the river. Now I just need to go left, or I need to go west, or what have you. And I just straddle that river and go, 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 go until I get it. So I'm kind of taking that point and saying, what's a natural marker in the terrain that I can hit, and then just kind of carry that on to the next checkpoint. And then finally, a backstop. This is massive, especially for beginners. You want to look at what is a point. If I get to that point on the map, I've gone too far and I need to pause, have a think, and recalibrate. So, for example, again, say like you have a checkpoint here, and then you have a river way up here. And you're like, okay, I know I need to get this checkpoint, but if I hit that river, I've gone way too far. So you're going, 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 and then you pass your checkpoint, but then you hit the river and you're like, wait, this is my backstop. I've gone too far. I need to recalibrate and figure out where we're at. So I know I'm at the river. I know I'm on this trail. I know I'm at this point on the map. Let's take our compass or let's take our map skills and let's recalibrate to find that point. So for me personally, those were the three strategies that have helped me tremendously: thumbing, aiming off, and backstop. And for anybody in the chat or in the video here in Zoom meeting, if I'm wrong on any of those, by all means, correct me again. I'm a humble person, but those are the three that I've used or what has been explained to me, and it helps me tons. Finally, compass. For this event, it's not massive. You don't need to stress too much if you don't know how to read a compass. What I would say is if you don't know how to use a compass well, you just need to know two things: how to use it to help you find direction on the map. So you set it on the map and you find out, I don't know which way's north or south or east or west. You set it on the map, you lay it out flat, and you adjust it so you're pointing north. And now you've got a good idea of, okay, this is where north is, this is where east or west or south is. Okay, you can start collecting data. Secondly, is setting a bearing. I'm not going to go into detail of that. I posted a video on my website about it. REI has some good videos. There's some other good videos on YouTube about it. But setting a bearing, if you're really lost, how you set on your map and how you actually adjust the compass dial to do so. If you're going to learn two skills for compass use, those are the two I suggest. Again, for this event, you're probably not going to need those. If you know how to read a map, you know how to follow a trail, you're going to be solid. At that point, it's just choose your own adventure and push you and your teammate push each other together to see how quick you can go and what you can collect. This is what our map looked like from last year. So this is at Staunton State Park. So don't think this is a cheat sheet. It's hard to see. I apologize. I tried to find a way to zoom it in and I was struggling with that. But if you look at the map on the screen, there's like these little blue dots or blue circles you see on the screen. Those are the checkpoints. And each of those have a letter and a number. That's what you're going to be seeing. And then if you see the squiggly lines like between those, so they look orange. Between those are your topo lines. Those are going to be your distance markers between your different levels of going up or going down. If you do not know how to use that, I wouldn't stress too much other than knowing, look at the trails, where are the trails at, and then having a think, oh, this trail is going on a topo lines that are super, super narrow. That's either meaning you're going down a steep section or up a steep section. So you need to have a good think about that. This event, we had 10 markers out and we only had 2 hours. It was way too short and way too many. So that's why we've tightened it up a bit. Okay, so that's it. That's all I have for you all. Now is time for Q&A, question and answer, or if anybody wants to come in and correct me on anything, I'm happy with that. I have my notepad, so I'm taking notes as well, so I have that on hand. So anybody has a question, just go ahead and speak up. Go ahead, Allie.
Uh, I know that cell surface is spotty in some of those areas. Is it okay if we sync our inReach before we begin, just so it's already synced?
Yeah,
That was my one. And then the other is it team rescue? So do all teams wait until all teams have finished?
yeah.
Just
So good question. So for me, yeah, first off, with the Garmin InReaches, yeah, my wife and I use the Mini. Yes, by all means, if you want to sync your devices, your phone, your Garmin InReach, everything to the area that you're going to be in, Just know you're going to be in that area that I put earlier. By all means, that's not cheating. You don't have the map course or anything laid out. Um, that's not a problem. As long as you're not using it to help you navigate, for sure. As far as if there's an emergency, it's pretty simple. If a teammate gets injured, try to self-evacuate and come to us. I'd rather you get out of there and be safe than anything else. But if you can't self-evacuate, I would ask that you stay with your teammate the whole time. So you and your teammate stay together. And if you come across any other runners or park patrons, so walkers, bikers, or whatever, you let them know, hey, we started at the race at the Blue Cross Trailhead. Could you please get a message to them that we are injured and we need help? It's going to be myself, our extra volunteer, and possibly that race director, Ali. You know who I'm talking about. He might be there at that point, to create what we call a hasty crew, to come to you or to find you. If after the 3 hours, if you're not back 2 hours after that, so it's been 5 hours since you've been out there, we're immediately dispatching our hasty crew. We're immediately coming out to you. So I've got my 4-wheel drive truck. We've got Rocky Talkies. We're working closely with the state park. I'm also, I've already contacted them, but I'm going to contact them again on Friday. All the local emergency crews and SAR crews to help with any issues. So we kind of have that covered. So if in 5 hours we don't hear from you, I'm literally pulling the trigger on that emergency and we're coming out for you. So stay put. We're going to come get you. Hopefully that answers your question. Um, Somebody just posted here. JD said, "Is there a required amount of calories for the emergency food?" Not really, honestly, JD. Just enough to keep you overnight. Like I said, I use it's called Kindle Mint Cake. It's one slab of it, and I think it has something like 500 calories. That's what I used in the UK, and that was acceptable, so I'm going to accept it here. It's just enough to get you through the night if you have to stay the night. I doubt that'll happen, but if it does, we got you. Any other questions or comments from anybody?
I got two questions, and sorry, I had to dip out for like 5 minutes in the middle,
Oh,
so I
you're
don't
good.
know if I missed this. First one is survival bag. Do you have a recommendation like for this type of excursion? What type, where to get one of those? I've seen like them online, but they're like 3-day ones, and
Yeah,
you know,
so I apologize. This is my fault for not preparing properly. I should have had it with me on hand right now to show you. But if you go on to my website, www.mountain/madness.com, and then if
mhm.
you click on the at the very top, it has the social media links. If you click on the YouTube link, and there's a video about required kit.
Got
If
it.
you
Okay.
watch that, if you go through that, you can fast forward through it. And if you just scan, you can even like click the thing and fast forward, and you'll get to a point where you'll see me holding an orange bag. That orange bag that I have, that's the survival bag I use. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it's called. But that one cost me like 15 bucks. I think I got off Amazon. It is what was recommended from the races in the UK. And it's literally a plastic bag, literally a plastic bag that folds up to be about like that big by that big, and it slips nicely into the main like water pouch of my backpack, of my running pack.
Okay.
And that's all you really need. Not a lot of people are bringing those like really fancy survival bags like that were like big chunky things, and I was like, you guys don't need those because you just need to survive the night. It's not going to be comfortable, but you need to
Yeah.
stay warm, right? So that's what I recommend. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thanks. My other one is to be anywhere at the end of 3 hours. Like, do we have to be back at the start line, or do
Good
we
point.
just?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, um, the way the structure works is you have to be back at the checkpoint before the end of those 3 hours.
Okay.
If you're not, if you're back there between uh 30, so say like you get there and it's 3 hours and anywhere between a top end of 3 hours and 3 hours and 5 minutes, that's going to be a 25 point penalty. So whatever points you collected, you're going to subtract 25 from that. If it's anywhere between 5 minutes and 10 minutes past 3 hours, that's going to be a 50-point penalty. And then anything past 10 minutes, you're disqualified. It's kind of a way to force you to like, A, think carefully about what you're getting, and B, it's a safety thing, right? We want you back there in 3 hours to ensure you're safe and you're good and you're good to go. So, but you and you have to be at the start finish. So where you check in, that's where you're finishing. You're going to run down the hill. You're going to come down from where you started. You're going to run right up to our table, and we're going to have one of these like blue dibbers, and it's going to say finish on it. And that's where you and your partner are going to dib in together to finish. Does that help?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Oh yeah. So Allie posted on the thing, if you sell you that, it's hunting season, so any store that sells hunting supplies should have survival blankets. Like I said, please make sure though, and not to jab at what Allie put, make sure it's not just a blanket that you strap over you, it's something that you need to put yourself into. So the survival blanket I've put out, or the survival bivy that I put out there, you actually like you put yourself in, it's almost like a sleeping blanket. You can even double it up as like a tent, and you and your partner can go in it and keep each other warm, kind of thing. But yeah, there's tons of places that sell like those plastic bags. I even saw some at REI in Boulder the other day. So, any other questions or comments or concerns? Okay, looks like we don't. Thank you everybody for taking the time. That was a lot shorter than I thought it needed to be, which I appreciate. So here's what I'd say: if you have any other questions that come up, if you can just email me. So my email, it's going to be race director, all one word, lowercase, race director at mountain/madness.com. If you have any questions, email me there. Otherwise, uh, Saturday I go out, I start setting up checkpoints, getting everything ready to go. Please don't cheat and go out there Saturday and find them. But I'm gonna set those up all out Saturday with my doggo, and then Sunday, yeah, I'm gonna be there around 6:30 a.m. You're welcome to rock up before that, but we won't start anybody until 7 on the dot. And you can start anytime between 7 and 8. If you're there though at 8:05, I'm gonna have to say no. And that's purely because that's what the parks directed me to do. That I promised them we would stop at 8, and that gave us 8, 9, 10, 11. So everybody should be in by 11. And if they're not in by 11, that means by 1 o'clock, we're doing emergency runs, unless you started well before that. We're gonna start doing emergency runs. So please, please, please be there before 8. That's it. So thank you everybody for attending. Again, email me if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'm excited to see you all out there. Take care.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.